everybody, I'm back. So I wanted to try and stream midweek and all that, but got too busy, got too distracted, wasn't able to do it. So alas, this is I'm gonna have to go back to at least weekends for now. We shall see how my schedule goes, and probably not looking too good, but whatever. With that out of the way, let's get back to biz. Should probably go back and work on that slime farm of mine, since well, I mean, it still needs to be finished. But with that, pull off my nether gear. Oh, please. Once. Good. How about you? Move you over one just in case. No doubt you're a little bit confused now, simply because, I mean, why am I switching out of my high quality gear since I have plans right now, as you can sort of see from the top there. Is to go for the slime farm. However, I do have some plans. The second one should be fine. Oh yes, high quality stuff. As the thing implies, I do have some plans to potentially. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for here? To work on some other things unrelated to that. I mean, at some point, I do want to grab a wither, and honestly, it would be pretty handy to do that. If I actually built out like a little area I can use to fight the wither within. So the nice thing is I can actually sort of do that by bouncing back and forth between working on working on the witch farm, or sorry, the slime farm, and did not tidy up a few things. Hopefully it's less lag on your side, or less less drop frames. We'll see shortly. And it's not just to go through there, but if you look at the other side here, this is a really nice spot to sort of drill up and try and find a good bedrock ceiling that I could use to hit against the wither. Would have been good to have a little bit of netherrack in there too. Magma blocks, yeah, that's alright, I'll be fine. Kind of silly, but I do like checking out in here every once in a while. Wow. Oh. Here's how deep it went. Oh well. Does not matter. For that though, get working on this farm. Now another thing I should do, besides sort of moving a lot of this into here since I don't really need it. Water bucket, I'll keep at least one. Kelly. Got any witches in there? Hearing any? Still the same amount. Then again, I have not actually been here to grind or anything, so I'd actually be a little bit shocked. Okay, there's somebody hanging around here. I'm not seeing him. Alright. Tell you what, I'll go in the open. That should bring the scaly out. I can see him a lot better. Alright, well, hopefully, by virtue of being around here, of course he's in there. Weird? Yes. Possible? Also, yes. Oh, or also, I think there's some underground caves around here, so he could be hanging out over here. Alright, and also, recall that I want, I think, a spacing of 3 between all these, which means that next one is actually just down the road there. Goodness. That was a mini cave of some sort. Alright, with that, let's get grinding. I wish I had my proper depth. This one too. Alright, let's just do a little bit of mental math here. Alright, this right here is 63. You're definitely hiding away in a cave. This height right here is 63. So that right down there would be 261, 69, and I want to go above 50. I still got a little ways to go down. I guess actually I can use my water bucket to get my way down. You were 63, 2, 61, 60, 59. That works. Means then I've got to go down a little ways below that. A sign? That'd be kind of handy, honestly. Grab some of this basalt. Not have a sign. Do, however, have a construction thing. I tell you what. I convert you into 8 planks. Gonna make me a sign. I'll restock my sticks too. Okay, so you are at my 59. Boom. There, that should make it a lot tougher for me to get lost. There. Well, let's continue. I kind of debated my order of operations here a little bit. Since, I mean, it'd be really great to grab, you know, a beacon and make this a lot faster, right? The problem I've got with that is that to get a beacon, I need to get a blaze. I need to get a blaze. I need to get a wither, means finding a nether fortress, going through and killing, I don't know, I think I estimated it to be something like 50 odd, anywhere from like 40 to 50 odd wither skeletons to have a decent chance of picking up 3 wither skulls. I got tons of soul sand, so that part's not a problem. And then figuring out, you know, what to track up there to figuring out, you know, the proper ceiling spot in order to carry on this battle. Probably grabbing a little bit of obsidian too, in case, as backup in case something goes wrong. Oops. Right one. Let's swap in some andesite. Hey, they could do that. Oh, that means time is a dwindling. Yeah, getting a beacon would make this part so much faster, but to get that beacon, I would need to do a big, long laundry list of things. Gather 3 wither skulls. Hey, a little bit of iron, thank you. Don't mind if I do. There we go. Night is coming. Pretty sure I'm not the only one on the server. Probably. If I wanted to anyway, that would not work so well. Alright, well. Let's switch to working in the mud. Together. Kicking myself for not looking at this, but I think it's 5 minutes corresponds to a day-night cycle now. Pretty sure through some sort of timepiece. I've got I've got a timepiece or two with me, so. Yeah, let's fill this sucker in with some cobble. Magma blocks. Normally I'd ignore them, but recall I actually need a little bit of magma blocks for my trap down there, so it makes some sense to grab a few. Best way up. Should I just eat up the side here? I think so, honestly. See you hanging around right around where the portal is. So you know what? Tell you what. Switch this off. Switch in some cobble so I'm protected if I run into lava. Provided, of course, I've got the reflexes to grab it. Alright, and now we just dig up. So we hit bedrock. Now, alas, we have to clear out as much of the stuff as we can, because it's not just a matter of getting bedrock above our heads to sort of help battle with this wither. Oh, nice. Yes, let's take advantage of this. You know, we want a specific design for bedrock. Basically, we want sort of like a 3x3 area that we can use to sort of battle this wither in. I don't know if you've seen some, videos on how to safely beat a wither and all that, but generally speaking, oh, that's not so good. The plan is to sort of lodge its head within bedrock, and since bedrock is unbreakable, there's no way it can actually come along and it's not out of you. So it just sort of sits there slowly suffocating to death. But of course, I mean, it's just kind of boring to let it sit there. So you basically go along and take swings at it from below. But if you're going to pull that off, you need a nice square where you can be reasonably safe that, yes, I've got that wither sort of stationed away. And this, not cutting it so far. Ooh, but take a look at this. We've got like a line of 5 right there. No, but we'll go right here. Bedrock there, yes. Where's my little 3x3 square? Unfortunately, that's more of a line than a square. Yeah, and this has a little bit of bedrock right here, so it's not too useful. Keep looking. Hopefully, as we get closer to this netherrack, it'll be easier to do a full search. I know, on a private server I'm playing with, I happen to be lucky that the main area I looked was filled with tons of this netherrack, so I could just splurge away. Not here so much. You also don't want any sort of air pockets in there where they can kind of, the wither can kind of get a little bit of headroom and start spitting or wiggle itself out. It can take a little bit to find, you know, a good pocket, but nothing good yet. But I was thinking it takes about 5 minutes to do the full day, to do night to day. Not sure if that's correct, but there's only one way to find out. And if I'm wrong, well, I just went straight back in. You saw how quick it was for me to get here and back. Hey, wandering trader. No, I need to be in there for a couple more minutes. Got corn farm, magenta, pumpkin, gunpowder. Gunpowder would be fine. I'll be back for you. Okay, I need to go out, work here for a little bit more. Probably around 18 or so? Yeah, I think around 18 I'll come back out and get back to work on the spot. I'm not a big fan of working at... Oh, hey, look. The block of 4 right there. 5. There's a little bit of a gap right there, though. You can get it to work with less. I've seen it work with less. But the bigger the block, the easier everything sort of works out. I might be able to do something with this. The real problem is this area back here. It's a little bit too open for my tastes. Probably better off to keep looking. No, not a good completion over here, though. Now, whenever I see this type of brick right here, I keep thinking that there's a nether fortress somewhere nearby. Really doesn't seem likely, though. I mean, there's no way a fortress would come up this high, for one thing. Bit of this out so I can see a little bit better what I'm doing up here. Not bad, not good though. About right here though. If it weren't for that central block, that would actually be pretty darn good. I don't think it'll work though. And so we continue to search. Alright, well we got through a lot quicker than I expected back over there. Just burrow my way across. The nice thing is I don't have to worry about accidentally stepping in lava over there too. Oh, that's close enough. Get the sun just rising now. Okay, so that was about 10 minutes then? From the looks of it. Seems about right. Depends if you andesite can sit back though. Ditto the diorite. Let's put it on you. Yeah, the pick has mending, right? Yes. There we go. A little bit of free repair. Go in there. Let's see if we've got any more gunpowder down here. Oh, there we go. Alright. Alright, it's working. I think it's working. It's not... Witches aren't escaping out of here. So it's just a matter, basically, of sitting and AFKing and hoping that we can get a decent enough... Did you... I can teleport it through there. Very silly wandering trader. Okay. Back to work. So I should be able to drop down. Alright. And so we resume. Big dig. Those pickaxe blasts. Let's see why I wouldn't. This is diamond. I've got mending on it, so if I hit a couple of coal seams, you'd be able to bring it back up to speed fairly quick. But we'll just keep an eye on it. I think it's time for me to get a beacon. Not like now in the short term and all that, but my plan was to go back and work on that ice farm, right? That's right. Now I'm talking to myself. But if that's the case, it'll be a lot easier if I just grab myself a beacon and grind away through there. I'll punch a little hole just so I can get those beams heading up through the atmosphere. But I think a beacon doesn't work unless you do that. I've seen more than enough Minecrafters, punch a hole in the ceiling just to let that beam go through. So I'm pretty confident it's actually like a part of the game itself that you have to. Yeah, punch a hole on the east side, I think it is. Yes. More art, don't matter, buddy. I'm not a big fan of basalt. There we go. Always sort of a challenge to be like, okay, what block am I going to get rid of to get this? Oh, you should go away. I should have got some sort of enchantments on the shovel too. Mind you, I knew that because I'd be digging down a couple of layers, the odds of me, dealing with a lot of dirt is pretty small. I mean, certainly there's a ton near the surface, but that's, kind of the way the Minecraft worlds spawn. Okay, yeah, I forgot gravel. That's alright. Yo. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Back to the dig. Hopefully some coal seams. I don't know don't have any sort of good illustration of what exactly I'm going for here, but I think you can kind of guess a little bit by the way I'm sort of marking out the wall like that. The plan is basically to set up a series of pancakes such that slimes will spawn. Now typically this is done in a slime chunk far underground which is lit up so that only the slimes may go. Of course, because of my strict no F3 policy, I do not have that option. Hence why I'm going for the backup plan of going to a swamp and taking full advantage. Oh, right. The good news, at least, is even if this iron shovel does go, I've got what, 40 odd iron ingots. You know, constructing a new one to tide me over is not going to be a problem. Something like that. So we build up sort of a series of pancakes here. Keeping in mind that slimes will only spawn between y equals 50 and y equals 70. And in amongst all the usual mobs that we get, we will be getting a decent amount of slimes. So we just rely on that to get ourselves the slime blocks that we're looking for. And then once we get the slime blocks, we can start building cool things like tunnel bores and such. And I've already got 3 ancient debris set aside, just to sort of bank, you know, on that. So I can actually get started if I decide that, hey, you know, I don't want to convert everything over to, I don't want to convert all my armor over to nether. I could actually just sort of drop it and go there, but I still don't have the requisite slime blocks. Got a few honey blocks, but you can't use that for all the machinery. There's no bounce effect, I believe, with slime blocks. With honey blocks you get with slime blocks. Which is a problem, because you kind of want, for the TNT duper part, it to sort of bounce everything off. For it to sort of bounce the TNT out. And well, slime blocks, no bounce. There we go, finally. Rejuvenate my pick, please. Don't care if I have to go a little bit out of the way. Oh yeah. Hopefully store. Yeah, cobble I can get rid of. Cobble is technically infinite. Which actually makes some interesting, sort of changes the incentive somewhat for what to get and what to get rid of, if you think about it. Alright, I should fill you in. Oh. Beep. 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 Good. Oh yeah, that definitely helped my pick. I suppose it's a nice thing about using something like diamond instead of netherite is there's less not hit points, it's sort of, you know, weather points or use points or something like that. The name currently escapes me. Apologies for that. That also means, you know, when you get your levels with mending on, it's a lot quicker to fuel up. I mean, if I had a gold pickaxe, just, you know, a little bit of gold would be enough to bring me all the way back to the start. But of course, I mean, we're talking gold pickaxe. That thing would break after a dozen blocks. I exaggerate, but you know what I mean. Okay, now I've got to pop you to Alt. Poor thing. Should I break out my? Yeah, I think I should. Cheers, cat. See that? Time for some proper scaffolding. It's starting to dwindle. So much stuff in here. Alright. Rid of the iron. Oh, I don't even have that to get rid of. Like, alright. I'm gonna have to make myself another thing at some point. And I'm not gonna be using the gold ingot or block of gold from the looks of it. I'm just not getting any piglin spawn right around. Hopefully, that's because there's no actual piglins spawning in that area. It's just magma cubes. If I'm unlucky, it may be some. It may just because I've been too close and such. They couldn't actually spawn. So, hopefully. Like that. It's getting late. So, I guess. Yeah, sure. Bye-bye. Alright. I guess back in about 38 then. Oh, whew. The llama just scared me. That's where you went, laundry critter. What should I do with this guy? Because he got gunpowder. I want gunpowder. If I head back home, grab myself some emeralds. I'm tempted to. I don't know how long this guy's going to last here. And you know what? Better to be greedy. Oh, wait. I need to put more room into my ceilings. Nah, but I've complained about this before. You know the drill. Hopefully, spawns over here. Not seeing any good. Turn this boat around so I've got a quicker escape. I want to take advantage of this to ditch some of my stuff. Really need to open up, get more storage. That's obviously got to be something I'm working on in the short term as well too. Transitioning over to from this sort of setup to something down below there. Throw a few more blocks in. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I'm basically full. Oh, alright. Tell you what, I get a little bit of XP by throwing that stuff in there to be taken in. You know what? Why not? I think it should only be about 10 trades or so until it goes. Or sorry, it should be, it's usually 5 or 6 trades. So I don't need a full, I don't think I'm going to need any more than 10 easily. Look at that too. We're almost a third of the way through the night. Good to know. Oh, well, yeah, actually that's not so surprising. If it's for about a third of the way through the night, that again means about 8 or 9. Yeah, in about 5 minutes or so. Get back and... Over. There we go. Yep, there we go. Oh, but I should have had it on the nether pick. 5 minutes. But you got that block in the middle there. Once I figure out a good spot, use some blocks to actually mark out where the ideal spot would be. Then come back with a bunch of obsidian. I'll go back to my home, switch to my good netherite pick. Just go to town on some obsidian. Oh, look at that! I want a 3x3. Almost perfect. Okay, look at this. This I can really sort of work with. Now, I don't like this bit right here. Because there's plenty of potential for the wither to sort of get popped in there and out. And oh wait, is there? You're not bedrock right there. No, you're bedrock. Okay. Pretty good right here. What about this? Oh, just 2. Howdy, wandering trail. Oh, and this one's nice and solid too. The only problem is we've got 2 descending ones right there, so it's not best. No, not really there. So I think, yeah, right about here. So far is my best bet. Oh, look at that. The basic plan would be to, I guess, try and get the wither to spawn up and get its head stuck in there. Now, hopefully, try and get the head stuck in there. Now, maybe spawn it so the head comes up this way, but I face it from this way, and so we go for a battle over in this direction. I think that makes the most sense. Okay. Let's mark the spot out somehow. I got basalt. We're up. I'm gonna want breathing room on the sides. Well, not a lot, honestly. Okay. Here. Nope, I'm gonna stick with that. Okay. This is the idea. Basically just sort of sketch it in for myself so I know exactly where to look. Look at that. No, that should be a solid block. It's going to compete. And also that. Because it's not going to work that well up that way. Well, this is still my best bet. Alright, now I hope, if I remember correctly, the wither can actually spawn in just a 3x3 little area right there. But where did I put the tail? I think tail, head. Yeah, I think so. Like that? Oh, I think it was like this. Problem is, though, I'm still worried about that. It getting stuck in the wrong spot, but that's okay. It's kind of low, though. 2 blocks down or just 1? No, it's got to be 2 blocks down. All right. Okay, let me switch out, grab a little bit of this, and then get moving because I'm running late for daylight. I think that's the basic plan right there. Of course, all this stuff gets filled in with whatever I got. This shall be the ground right here. Alright, now I don't know if you've clued in on this or not, but of course the using bedrock to try and suffocate a wither can kind of be dicey, especially if they get their head in the wrong spot and they become free. The video I saw actually presented, I think, 4 different ways to go about, you know, get yourself a good wither thing, but they only considered them in isolation, so this was the best one they recommended. Simply because it gets its head stuck, and you can literally go up there with no armor, and you're not at any risk from the nether itself. But another method they tested was actually, the 4th method actually, was just a very long corridor. You just build yourself a corridor, and the wither can only destroy one block at a time that's right up against it, and especially if it can't see as well. So what you do is you sort of bounce between those 2 modes of it not being able to see you and only being able to destroy 1 or so blocks. Fill you back up. Magmas. Alright. Stuff. Alright, you can go away. Lily pads are useless, you can go. Oh, go away, go away. Something like that. Fill you in with that. Oh. One of these days. There we go. And I got room for the emerald, might as well put it away. Oh, yes. I'm at it. I should try and get rid of the gunpowder in here too. Oh, look at that. Glowstone dust. Not the best haul. But I'm not AFK. That's the point. You know, if I actually went around and AFK'd here, it might actually turn into something decent. Then we do it this way. Okay. I mean, I got a decent amount of coal, so I can always just take my cobble, cook it in the stove, get a little bit of XP out of it that way. You're 57, so I'm at 56. Sorry, 59. Alright. Back to the dig. Yep, so it's actually you that need to be filled in. There we go. And 57, 66, 55. I miss the high-end effects on this. All the nice shadows and stuff, but unfortunately if I'm going to be streaming and playing at the same time, it doesn't really work out that well. I don't Don't mind if I do. Alright, charge up this pick. And for my trouble, a little bit of iron. You. Alright, you go. There we go. How's this work again? This is 5. No. 4, 3, 2, 1. Two. Flopped out. Yeah, that works, I think. Is it a little bit high? Yeah, maybe, but it's not going to prevent me from well enough, although your Y53 could always just offset this a little bit. Oh, okay, well, I'll worry about that when I get to it, and then maybe sort of do an offset on these signs here. Get a little bit more recharge coming in. Thank you. What else to talk about? Oh yes, the filtered seed thing. Coming along, I've basically got sort of 2 libraries to go with it. I'm going into the wall, but I want my recharge, so that. Go. Let's fill in a little bit. No, I don't want that. It's going to confuse me later on. Boom, right there. Okay. Pretty good. Yeah, why not? Let's try it this way. See if this makes things work any faster. Watch the time though. Oh, even better. Well, the good news is, because it looks like it's on a nice solid clock, I can basically just go by what's on my timer and be pretty confident that, yeah, I got it. So basically, in the next minute, I gotta head to the nether. Just having a timer can help a lot in this scenario. Let's get this iron a-cooking. I wanted to build more storage too, didn't I? Come on, that, yes. Let's pull you out. I'll build this. And I'm gonna want communities, please, like that. Dash. We have this many saplings, but I just don't like that stuff. Alright. Now I go in here. I got a nice double chest. And let's throw the double chest up here. Yeah, that'll do. This garbage. Right. What'll do? Risk a quick peek? Yeah, why not? Nothing changed. Alright, to the nether. Oh, that worries me a little bit, this area right here. I want to go out. I like the look. I don't like that big drop there, since I just nearly sort of flying. Little llamas. Problems of building with basalt. Let's just fill this in. I've got, excuse me, got tons of blocks I can use to fill in this area. I had tons of blocks, so I could use to fill in this area. That's okay. There we go. So now, complete this. I'm gonna have to basically just go along through here. And then right around here, actually it converts into something like that. Especially as long as I just sort of make this corridor out of something solid like stone, that'll be fine, but I mean, why use stone when I can get a ton of basalt? More? Oh. Okay. Oops. Yeah, that's good. Oh, yes, I got some netherrack. Nice. Okay, whatever. Let's rip this up, and hopefully I'm high enough to go above the portal area that's over there. I mean, if not, I'm well above the portal proper, so... As long as I don't get any bedrock coming into my face as I try and flee, this will have to work out reasonably well. Not quite. That's okay. jeez, you're way too high. Out. Here's sort of the main area right here. Fill this area up with obsidian. And I mean, it doesn't matter if, you know, my plan doesn't work. I can just sort of hover back here, and when, you know, when the wither comes close, swipe at it with my sword, or hit it from a distance with power or arrow cannon, sorry. I'll gather up some chickens too. If I want to get some wither roses, then last I'm gonna have to sacrifice some chicken lives. I've got a few back at the homestead. That's pretty good. The person I saw who was fighting their wither, I think they only got to about here or so. They're fighting it, so good sign. But with this though, hey, I should pick up these blocks since I've offloaded a lot. I don't have a lot in my spares. I was just briefly confused for why that chest did not turn into a double chest. Yeah. I think this works. I'm a little paranoid that I need to drill out a little bit the sides just to get it enough so that a wither would spawn in here. Unnecessary. I'll definitely have to double check my wither stats. But at this point, yeah, that's looking pretty good. This, I think, will be more than a long enough corridor. But now I actually have to go back and loop it back so I connect to exterior here, because I don't want any sort of openings in here. I want that to be just solid obsidian. In order to do that, loop back around here. That's one problem too, is I don't know how far to go over here. Like that, I guess. And efficient. Just about back at my queue. Like that. Blinded. There we go. Alright, now mine out enough obsidian to fill this thing. And then even if, you know, the plans do, if this does not go to plan with this wither, I don't care. Yes, and I should fill in this too. I'm going to leave some little eye holes for myself. There. That's sufficient. Alright, next plan is to get a bunch of obsidian. If I can fill in that area. Just a little bit of not too much. This really kind of annoys me. There we go. I knew that would make a diff. Okay. Oh, I want more basalt. I don't want my netherrack for anything. Should I take a little bit of coal with me just in case? Just debating if I should turn those into coal blocks, because you can't really go back the other way. Magma blocks. About, oh god, garbage dirt. My magma back in here at least. So this way at least I've got, you know, some decent stuff. So, oh my god. Okay, you stay. Garbage up here. And the pick. And the sand. Probably can sit over there. Unfortunately, by going this way, I'm kind of getting rid of those spawns that would happen up in the what happened in that witch farm. It'd be much further away because it's right now within my radius 64 or radius 24 for spawning. That's okay, I'll worry about that soon enough. Oh. Well, it's pretty much all down here anyway. Somebody popped up there? Nope. Alright, since I'm gonna need to get up there in a hurry. Sufficient. Close enough. Okay, I shouldn't exaggerate. I don't hate it. Where was I? Hey, pillager. Sounded like he was dead ahead of me. Oh, jeez. There you are. Alright, well, let's switch this to something useful. Oh, I'll take that. Oh no! And I have bad omen. Good for arrows. Yeah, 50, that's good. Oh no, I go near a village and things could go bad. But, oh, that's right, don't have any plans to go anywhere near spawn. That's the only village around here that's convenient. I was maybe thinking of going over to my villager farm over there to pick up one or two small things, but that's not a strict necessity. Okay, let's go. You hurry away, you little guys. Not like you're bothering me much at all. I got myself one of your banners. That's really all I care about. Another banner to tack up in my bedroom. Oh, more iron. Don't mind if I do. fortune on this? Yes, I do. There's 6 though. Maybe I should get rid of them just because they're annoying to listen to. I don't really care about getting their crossbows. The horror is kind of annoying. 2, 3. Now listen to that. Oh, there you are. Just the one? You're silly. Oh, why I was so aggressive? My goodness. My goodness, my dude. Oh! That's not good. Okay, so there's another one hiding behind me then, eh? I'm gonna heal up just a bit. Okay, now I can take a little bit. Eat that. Oh, it's a crossbow. Where the heck did that guy head off to? Whatever. Since I'm obsessed, there's a little bit more gunpowder there, actually. A little bit more. Is it great? No. Does it help me? Yes. Well, now I'm definitely feeling lucky for that fall, because I could have easily done something with this garbage armor, but not the worse for wear for that, thank goodness. Could also be chewing up some of those XP points, which is why my poor backup pick isn't working as well as I was hoping. Got about another minute before I gotta get out of here. Alright, time to consider vamoosing. Now then, I'm gonna need a ton of obsidian. I suppose the next thing to do after that would be to try and find the nether fortresses that I'm gonna need to get all those wither skellies. And since thankfully I've got all my garbage armor on, good. Well, beat up crossbow, sure, why not? I think that'll work. Hello. Let me sit over here. That's not gonna want to obviously. Alright. Well, that, I think, should tell me that, yeah, I should go and sleep. Besides, start doing a little bit of farming for obsidian. Seems like I'm gonna want at least a stack, and I don't really want to take up the obsidian I've got already. That stuff would be super handy for. Okay. You guys do that. Oh yes. Oh, I'm the only one on. Alright, well, that was fortuitous. Alas, I do need to take a quick break for myself, so I shall be right back. I am back. Yep. Alright, well, since I now have that area set up, that means actually I can switch out my stuff. Oh, actually, hang on, before I get too far into that. Double check what I've got in my stores right here, because I still want a little bit of gunpowder. Good, okay, and that will get me a couple more explosives. Not a lot. Sorry, it's right over here. Yeah, 4. You need, I think, 5 gunpowder to make some explosives. Along my TNT on that. Yeah, I'm probably going to start working on... mining for ancient debris, so it'd be good to have these ones here so I can build some more. Oh, andesite I should get rid of. Yes, nice. I've got enough room to get rid of that andesite. Yeah, no, let's focus more on obsidian, actually. I'll be back for that shortly, don't you worry. Oh yes, and head upstairs to... And there we go. We have ourselves one more ominous banner for the collection. What am I doing? Yeah, it's pretty good. Alright. armor doesn't really matter in this case. So I'll just switch off to these. Because I'm basically just going to, you know, the basement here. Pulling out this thing. And just grabbing all the obsidian that I can. I don't really want to grab it from here, because that's kind of awkward. Over here would be kind of nice. Yes, I've got my work. Perfect. Actually, be out temporarily. A little bit of coal for a little pickaxe. A little bit better off. But let's switch you out. First pick here. I don't think I need that. Far. Go over there. I've actually you out, so I've got some protection against lava if it so decides to come up. Pull all these up just so it's less annoying to run around here. Alright, I'm up to 12 obsidian. Look at these. In. There we go. Get rid of it at the source. Oh, maybe not. Although, could just throw, you know, this is where it would have been smarter to throw a water block right there. Now I'm protected in case any lava pops up. Okay. Insta gone. One. Nice improvement. Just about time for me to go. And I just want to grab a little bit more of these blocks. Look at that. Nice, clean, and efficient. Alright, and with that, we can basically just wander straight up. Ooh, although it's nearly nighttime. Alright, is there any ill-gotten gains I can get rid of? Obsidian is nice. I want to take you with me. But yeah, it's a little too early for that. That's okay, I tell you what. Stick with my lousy pick or switch back now. Decision. Well, definitely should not sacrifice second pick. I don't really need Silk Touch for much of anything. It'd be nice to have you as a backup, I think. Even if I use you as the primary. Don't need to worry about that because I've got plenty of iron back over there. It is nighttime. Cool. Alright. Let's head back to the construction site. Come on. Go too far. Oh yeah. Poor little deers. Give you a little bit more XP. Appreciate it. Oh, was there a phantom membrane from this? Or do you, I think you only get them by actually defeating them. You don't just drop them. Annoying for me, but whatever. Excellent. You back in there. A little bit of extra hold there. I want to get zombie flash. You can get. Probably put the iron next to the iron. But also, I don't need any of this stuff right now. I will take the gunpowder. Ease myself a little bit with this. And, I mean, not much of a surprise, quite frankly. Alright, well, now that I've got some distance between myself and the witch farm, should allow it to actually operate. In my case, just focus on this. Lost the channel. don't think I completed my thoughts with the filtered seed glitchless thing, did I? Yeah, coming along. One thing I am trying for is more of an object-oriented approach, which is kind of weird when you're dealing with Python, but I think it definitely suits it. Now, a lot of what I'm doing is basically sort of specific to a category of filtered seed. Now, if you don't know, there's actually a variety of categories that are available for people who run filtered seed. I don't think the leaderboard even sort of separates out right now. But now you do have your option for what you want with it. Media has not decided yet that, you know, any one option is better than the other, so. So the plan then. The plan then is basically just that have you choose your, because everything is sort of oriented around these various categories. I want to, hey Iron, I do. Focus on you first. Ooh. Like the iron vein. No, that's it. Blocks here to in. Boom. Fill you back a little bit. The further I stay away from that witch farm, the better it is. But yes, object-oriented programming, just because the internals are sort of grouped around these various categories for seeds. And, you know, the actions you're repeating are basically the same for each category. So quite frankly, that makes a lot more sense to sort of just bundle them all together. Do an abstract representation to keep the parameters nice and tidy. And go from there. A fun little thing to design. Especially when it comes to sort of the security around it. I mean, I can think of two main ways people can try and subvert the system and get an advantage for themselves. Since, you know, this is basically just sort of like a seed oracle and all that, and it picks seeds at random. Return to folks, you can imagine a good way to potentially cheat it is basically just to grab seeds until you get a seed that you want. The idea here is you go and you pick one seed that you like, unfiltered seed. You run it, 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. You don't bother actually sort of picking up any sort of authentication token or whatever in order to get it. Well, I'm calling them tickets myself. And then when the time comes, well, you just keep running, doing your practice runs on all that. But then you refresh the thing that's sticking out tickets or tokens and say, hey, give me a token, please. And, it's probably not going to give you the exact one you want, but that's fine. All you do is you just keep refreshing it. Say, hey, I want this token, I want this token, I want this token. And if it's choosing them randomly, then just, out of sheer luck, at some point, you will in fact pick up that seed that you've been practicing on. In which case, joy of joys. You can do a run, and you will do it a lot better than, what is intended. The whole point of filtered seed is it's basically a lot like random seed, but you don't really have, you're given a decent seed, but you're still giving a seed you've never seen before. That's the sort of basic intent behind it. And when you can sort of refresh, the little thing doling out tickets or tokens or whatever, to get whatever seed you want, well, obviously that's sort of defeating the entire point of the category. There's two main defenses that my building has against that. One is just simply tons of seeds. You know, if... Sure, you can practice on, you know, one of the seeds you want. In fact, we'll even show you, you know, all the seeds that we've got. You know, it's all open source, so I don't think there's anything scary for revealing the list of seeds. But if there's, you know, 100,000 or 1,000,000, the odds of getting the exact seed you want are 1 in 100,000 or 1,000,000. You know, you can actually grind through, and I think it's 0.69, you know, 0.69 times the number of seeds that are available is the point where you'd have a 50-50 chance of actually getting the seed that you want. Which is not good, quite frankly. That's one way to defeat that trick, just by having tons and tons of seeds. Now, obviously, this is also a big problem if you're actually trying to calculate the seeds on the fly. You know, the original one was pretty quick. You know, in many cases, if you said, hey, I want to... just give me a seed, the original code would just return something within a second, maybe 2, depending on. The problem, though, is that's a really great way for an attacker to actually exhaust your resources, because you're paying for those CPU cycles. And yeah, you know, CPU cycles are cheap right now, but do you really want to pay for all that if you don't have to? You know, why not just run something off? Why not just run, you know, a seed finder offline? Grab all the seeds you need there. Now and then, just dole them out on the fly. You know, take advantage of the fact that you've got so many. Yeah, a little bit better. Hello. Yeah, I guess now that it's drawing down. Although, hang on, I can sleep. What am I thinking of here? Boom. Alright. Don't to worry about that. Oh, wait. Oh, not obsidian. Salt, please. Thank you. There we go. Now everybody's marked out. That was 59. You're 63, 62, 61, 69. So that's 55. I really am going to have to move things a little bit. Since I was all around here, let's get working on this. Alright, it's early in the day. What do I care? Technically, I don't. Pretty high. That's kind of an awkward height, given that, you know, there's 4 in between these blocks. Result. Okay. Let's actually do a height of 4 for these. That screeches to my left, huh? Oh yeah. I want to do 4 by 4 as well. So, okay. This. Carry on with the dig. Yes, one defense is just simply having a ton of seeds at your fingertips. Ideally, you know, as cheaply as possible. Hence, you know, keep a list. But the other approach, even though you've got all these seeds and you're not really expending much thing, there's no reason you can't just simply stop and pause. you know, if you actually just say, okay, you know, I'm not going to give you a seed right away. I'm going to wait a little bit before giving you a seed. And suddenly you've made things a lot less efficient for grabbing seeds. You know, I could easily launch, you know, 4 or 5 TCP sockets towards, you know, a server and just get tons of responses back and just keep repeating those over and over, essentially clogging up the server itself, grabbing everything I'd want for myself. But if the server starts, you know, saying, no, you only get, I'm only going to dish out, you know, X amount of tickets or tokens or whatever per mo, suddenly you can't really, you know, brute force it as nearly as well as you could before. Yeah, just by adding a pause, you can actually make things a lot more secure from that regard. Because then now you can actually sort of regulate it and control it and say, okay, you know, I'm only going to be giving out seeds every, you know, X of a second or X seconds or whatever. Then that basically places limits on how fast you can go along and get whatever seed you want. Oh, I was about to go. Oh, hey. Fancy meeting you here. Here. Go back and myself a proper shovel. Two more? One more. That should do it. Enough. There you go, that'll help prepare that. There. Alright, you go with the flow. Granite, you go with the flow. Go across, just so it's... This place is just a mess. Thank goodness it's just sort of a temporary holding area. Oh, yeah, it's fine. Dirt, you go in there, whatever. Actually, hang on, there's sort of garbagey up here. Throw a bunch up here. A little ways before the sun goes down. I'm gonna have to make a new shovel, so. There we go. Yeah, that was just a normal shovel anyway, so. Don't need it for anything but sort of select gravel and dirt. Yeah, I've got first pick on me. I'm not really in any danger of getting hurt or killed here. That's totally fine. Alright, and we can actually be a little bit smart when it comes to these timeouts for tickets or tokens or whatever. You know, always forcing people to wait, you know, a second or two or something for it is kind of blah. Especially if it's not used all that often. So what we can say is not, okay, I'm going to pause, for X seconds or X fraction of a second every time you come along. Where's my shovel? What we can do instead is say, alright, I'm just going to check to see when the last person tried to get a token or ticket or whatever off of me. If that was too close in the past, I'm just not going to give you one. And so that way, if it's not congested and all that, you don't actually wait to get, a ticket or anything like that. If you're not using the ticket dispenser to its maximal capacity, then yeah, you can just get a ticket whenever you want, which is great. But when things get busy, it will automatically scale and prevent you from getting extras. And that's, really great for most users since, they don't want to wait in order to get their chance to play. They want to play right now. Yeah, you can wait a second or two or something if you must, but why even, force people to go through that when they don't have to? Okay. Oh, please, let go. Put up another sign, just to remind me of where exactly I gotta go. Yep, sun's dropping down. Fortunately, because I took that break, though, not as synced as I'd like to be. I'm just gonna have to go by light levels now. So I think that's a good solution to the primary attack I figured people will do. But there's other types of attacks you could do on this system. Like you can imagine if it's 100% online and that's the only way you've got for it, that's really inconvenient for verifiers. Somebody can basically just flood the thing and prevent anyone from getting their filtered seed glitch runs verified. So you don't want that. It'd be handy to have some way of, offline verifying that a run is a-okay. The problem with that, though, is now you're opening yourself up to corrupt verifiers. If if a speedrunner is desperate to run a specific speed or something like that, all they gotta do is bribe a verifier to come along and say, hey, make me a ticket or a token that has this seed, and I'll shower whatever riches you want on you, blah, blah, blah. And of course, it's the same basic attack as before. They spend their time on this thing, and they know that, in fact, it's a valid seed for this category. They go along, they run it, they do it a few hundred times, and then they bribe the verifier to say, hey, get me a ticket with, this valid seed on there. Now, I've got a really good way to block that. It's actually sort of in the... There's actually 2 secrets you need to know to create a full ticket. One of which allows you access to, all the key details within that ticket. The other one, though, is sort of a nice little security parameter. That as long as you don't share it with people, makes it very difficult to forge a ticket. So, the verifiers are trusted with the secret password, allows them to actually read whatever's inside the ticket or token or whatever. And they can say, yep, that's definitely a valid or an invalid run, even if somebody DOS's the server itself. little too drunk there. 59, 56. Oh, that's not 56. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes. So this would be my basement in theory. Yeah, and actually that does make sense. If you think about it, you want to have a gap of 3 in between the spawn areas that's there. So basically you've got sort of a collection of 4. Let me switch over to this view. You want a gap of 3 in between the platforms you're going to be having within here. So that means basically you've got a repeating pattern of 4 on there. Well, 70 minus 50 is 20. You divide that by 4 and you get exactly 5. So, actually, yeah. Going 1 down might be a little bit better, because then I could throw the 71 on the top and hopefully. Okay. Alright, I think I am wrong then. Actually, I have to go 1 down, which means actually my offset from this thing is 1. That's a bit too far. Okay. Wait, no, that's not what I was looking for. This would be the plan. Oh, sorry. This actually has to go down 2 then. This gets chewed. This gets chewed. This bit right here. Yeah, I'm leaving this alone. This is the first spawning platform. Okay. And then essentially what you do, sort of flush everything in, is throw in some water buckets. And you'd throw it on both of these corners, which creates a bit of a flow off in this corner. But you have to do it on both there. And then over the side, you put in a whole bunch of lava blocks. And that you throw in a whole bunch of magma blocks. And that's the thing that'll actually grind away the mobs. Get them done. I'm sorry, to get them dead, I should say. This is awkward. Probably should have thought a little bit better before digging out that area. But yeah, this is the basic platform right here. This is going to be my first spawner. In fact, go. Alright, so back to filtered seed glitchless. The use of 2 secrets sort of helps secure things. Terribly handy, because it means now we can share one of the secrets with somebody. You know, and design it such that if they have access to the secret, they can peek and say, yeah, you know, this is a valid ticket or whatever. Yay, great. Problem, of course, is, you know, you give them access to that secret, and now, you know, if you're not careful, they can fudge the ticket. Well, that's what the second secret is for. You keep that private from the verifiers. And now, actually, there's a portion of the ticket or token that they can't decode. And so they can look at it and they can say, yeah, no, this is valid, this is not valid. But fudging a ticket is a lot trickier. Now, how much trickier sort of depends on how you're dealing with this. Now, you can imagine a scenario where the secret is known only to the actual, you know, web-based client itself. And then, you know, if somebody denials services it or even causes it just to reset, then nobody can actually make sure that, yeah, no, this ticket, which was generated is indeed a valid ticket. You know, they could always come along and sort of fudge the bit that they're not supposed to be able to do that. And the only way you can actually verify it is to actually throw it into, you know, the online thing and get it verified that way. So, you know, it is one option for cheating within there. But I mean, there's ways even around that. You just have a little bit of a, you know, a trusted third party or something with that, just to sort of know that other value. Ooh, yeah, I'm actually getting a really nice verification protocol in that case. We tell one person one secret value, and the other person the other secret value, but not the first. You know, and then you say, hey, trusted person, here's a value. I want you to try and verify this for me. The problem with that, of course, is basically all they got to do is swap information, and now suddenly they both know both secrets, and now they can totally, you know, fake things or whatever. So let's just say, for a hypothetical, that the security side is well enough such that, you know, you don't have to worry if somebody denial of services the website. Somebody can come along and sort of compensate for that and actually validate a, you know, a ticket or token, you know, the full way. But we still have enough such that somebody can sort of look at it and be like, yeah, no, legit. Perfect, that's exactly what I was looking for in terms of height. Solid walls, good. Oh, this poor thing. Poor pickaxe is about to go. Okay, say for security reasons that there is this sort of skyhook thing, and either you can get access to the web portion even if it's being distributed denial of service, or there's somebody out there who has, you know, full knowledge of what's on there and is trusted, you know, not to share that divulge information with anybody else. Even in that case, there's still a way to sort of go along and fudge, you know, for a verifier to go along and fudge without even knowing what that second security thing is. The idea here is basically imagine the, you know, the web thing being up. They basically just go along and ask the web thing, hey, you know, here's a ticket, is it valid? And the web, they can basically fudge it such that part of it is valid, you know, like the seed and all that, all the stuff that's stored within there is going to be, yeah, totally legit. But that part that they don't have access to isn't necessarily going to be valid. Oh. You. Hopefully this doesn't. Oh. Sorry, I've been digging away my face up full. Sorry about all that. Oh, glass bottle. Nothing new in terms of gunpowder, but I did get a ton of sugar. Alright, well. It works. Because I'm not AFKing properly, that it's not working as nice as I'd like. You know, we'll cope with that. Go along this way. Spider off left. One thing I'm a little worried about. Spider has his dead ahead. I have access to a cave over here. Oh, nice. pickaxe hungers. Hold on. A little bit more room. Somewhere in the walls for here. Interesting. Useful. Right, let's get rid of the cobble. Cobble? Okay. So we'll carry on with this. Especially since I'm painfully close. Oh, look at that. Blasted through a fair bit of this. Good. Of course, still gotta get through this. I'm smart. I'll track down where that thing is and throw in a bunch of torches and stuff. So close. So that you can hear him burning, so close. No, not here. Over here. Somewhere through here. Oh, there we go. No, I did do that one. Here. You know what? This is just wasting time right now. Very good. Boom. Oh, wait. You should have been solid. Alright. Yeah, look at that. A bit more coal. Yeah, I still keep forgetting to complete my idea, too. Alright, so yeah, they can, in theory, basically do something very similar to what, you know, our speedrunner was doing. A verifier comes along and just says, okay, How about this ticket? Is it valid? And the thing comes along and says, yeah, it's valid, or no, it's not. Almost certainly it's going to say no, just because of the odds. But of course, then what they do is they come along and they do a little bit of random variation on that and say, all right, this portion right here, if I change this portion a little bit, now does it become valid? And the thing will come along and say, no, no, still not valid. Okay, so they just carry on this, basically changing the part that they've got no idea what it is, because they don't have access to the secret info that you need to properly figure out what it is. And they just basically keep on submitting these things for verification until finally at one point it comes back and says, yep, valid. In which case, oh boy, you know, go back to the speedrunner and say, hey, I got a valid run for you, buddy. Give me my money. No, that's correct, that's correct. This is what we're looking for. Yeah, I know, it's kind of annoying to be going along through here. But it does create this one little lip, which I can then use to sort of make it a little bit easier for me to burrow later on. Got all of this done. Alright, well I think this is about a good time to turn off the stream. Oh, let's do that a little bit. Something over here. I guess I'll throw a torch up there just to remind myself about it. Yeah, I think with that, I think I am good to go. So, I shall be seeing you next time. We got a decent amount of iron, even though it wasn't really our goal. Nearly went through an entire pickaxe. But we're actually down to bedrock-ish when it comes to the mob spawner. So, in fact, actually here, let's have a quick look down over here. Look at that. Right down there. That's the baseline right there. And then we build up from there up until about there. Boom, that's it. That's, you know, quite productive, you know. So, definitely, you know, pats on the back and all that for that. But until next time, yeah, we'll be seeing you later.